I used to be really a little, not tortured, but a little like, I don't want to keep doing these singing things because like I got to show people that I like to do more, and if I keep doing more of these, they'll only see me as that, and this earnest guy that I always play. And recently, actually, not that I don't still want to do all those roles, I've taken a bit of a breath. I had this like amazing epiphany, and where I think I even said earlier in this interview that I bet on myself, and I'm now like not in a rush. I know what I'm capable of now, so I'm not in a rush to show it. I know it will happen now.
Filmmaker Magazine presents Back to One with Peter Rinaldi.
Skylar Astin is an actor. He sat down with me in New York City to talk about the work. Tell me if I got this story right. Your mom almost bribes you into going to an audition.
Yes. Well, you can call it a bribe, actually, if you want to like go by the.
She had lured you there with the idea of going to a restaurant that you liked. I
Exactly.
heard this story, right?
In the neighboring town of
Yes.
Nyack, New York.
Yes.
A nice Italian meal. She could tell that I was a little nervous to audition for the play.
Yeah.
And so she's like, look, why don't we go? Probably not going to make it anyway because it's already 5:40.
We need to say this, though. You weren't anywhere in the sphere of like wanting to act necessarily.
Definitely not acting. I did piano since I was 5 years old, and I did like some light singing at those recitals by the request of my mom and my teacher, actually.
Yeah.
I was a little nervous to, but I think I did the Friends theme one year at a recital, did a little Phantom of the Opera medley once I got like a little bit more comfortable. So I had sang some theater songs, but never really like on stage or really channeling another character.
The reason why I wanted to start with this is because I'm fascinated by the idea of some of these people that I talk to and I hear a story like that, like somebody I talked to recently, he was just in LA somewhere. Mm-hmm. He's from overseas, so he was just on a trip. Somebody said to him, you look like an actor. You look like you could be an actor. Like he was going to be an IT guy. Never ever like, that just put the seed in him. And he is now living it and breathing it. It's in his bones.
Seriously?
Yes. But what I really want to know is, if that didn't happen, if your mom didn't take you there and kind of push you toward that, was acting in your bones and it would have come out in some way? Or was acting put into your bones there by that wonderful director that you said that really...
Tim McDonald,
that really instilled something in you? Like, is that what happened? Or were you born an actor and you would have gotten there somehow?
That's a great question. I don't honestly know. I tend to think that like everything happens for a reason, of course, and like I'm sure, to me, I can't imagine doing anything else, truly.
It seemed like that. I think that's why I really wanted to ask you that, because it seems like you're living and breathing it.
Right, fully, and like it's I bet on myself all the time to do it, and I love it. But I'm like, I don't know, because it really was, I would not say forced upon me, but, and maybe she saw something in me that I didn't even know existed yet, that I now know full well exists. So I don't actually know if it would have found me. I mean, I'd say yes, but also I don't know. Maybe I would have just like gone to college and been a therapist.
So would you be an unfulfilled person? So
Probably.
You know what I mean?
Probably.
Like is this what, do we pass by these people all the time on the street?
Right.
Do we pass by these people? Like, this makes me very sad to think about it like this.
I don't know why this is like probably going to be a weird thing to describe, especially on an audio podcast, but I like study human behavior all the time, and I don't know why I find a lot of like this oh God, this is such a weird thing to say, but like a lot of sadness and like ordinary tasks, just looking at things. I don't know why I get like this feeling of like, and it's not that I pity them. I'm not trying to say I have a better life. It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It makes me feel sad.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean.
I don't know. It's really a hard thing. I mean, and here we are, like not even far into this interview, and I'm going to this really heady thing that I'm not sure.
This is the place for weird things.
Okay, good.
Like this is
okay,
this
good.
Is the place. It really is. Good. But I relate to what you're saying. Like that. Like if I need to cry in a scene. I have a bunch of things that I can go to now And they're all weird things about people that I've seen on the street.
Right. There's something
that take up all the and the water starts flowing out.
And by the way, sometimes it's not a sad feeling. Sometimes it's emotional and it's beautiful.
Yes.
It's like a woman.
Somebody wouldn't understand it. Yeah.
Going through her keys to open up a door.
Yeah.
And I just like look at her and think about her life, and it makes me like want to cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. This is what makes a good actor, though. This is what makes you a good actor. This is what I really think. Like, I think that there are people that can get away with it, and I'm sure that there are assholes that don't care about people out there that are making a living as an actor. But I think that to get really deep, you have to really care about people. You know?
Yeah.
I really believe that. How has auditioning changed for you over time now? Now you've gotten a lot of success, you know, but you're still called into these rooms.
Yeah. Just this week.
Right? You know, so there you go. Like, so I keep imagining that, like, when nobody knows you, there's a certain amount of like terror, depression, horror at this idiotic process. But when they know you a little bit, it's a different kind of.
It can be more welcoming.
Yeah.
Then again, it can be just as equally humbling. And I also like loved when I first moved out to LA, especially coming from theater, where I had just done this 8-show-a-week thing. Mm-hmm. And was it a little weird that nobody knew what Spring Awakening was on the West Coast? Yeah, you know. And they go, "What network was it on?" I go, "No, a different show, like a Broadway."
And considering how crazy that play was,
right.
It was insane. You know?
Yes, thankfully I don't have too much of an ego, especially with that kind of stuff. I never get upset if no one knows who I am. It's like there's so many actors and people and shows and networks and everything out there. So I really don't mind that. But I did kind of like going into that first pilot season in LA being like, well, especially at the level I was at, right? I was like pre-reading for casting directors. So at that level, there's not a camera in the room. You're literally just meeting a casting director. So they're like, okay, I'm going to meet this young actor and see if he wouldn't embarrass me if I just brought him straight to producers.
Right,
so it was like those situations where I was like, oh, I know I'm getting a call back. I would kind of, now I would go straight to a certain level, but then I kind of enjoyed the like meeting people and showing them my abilities.
And you knew you can kind of like, you knew you had the confidence that you could wow them enough to get, that they would like you and take you to the next thing.
At least get into the room.
Yeah.
And there was like something to, I'm like doing, nothing against like a easy CBS sitcom, but doing those sides and trying to embellish and do something fun and just understand the comedy, obviously, but there's a lot of people out there that, someone told them they were pretty and, it's so weird because like in no other profession can you just like come from Texas, nothing against Texas, but because someone says you're good looking in a mall and think you could be a dentist now.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, like why? Like that is so arrogant and ignorant in a way to go, I could do this because I've seen other people do it and it seemed easy. It seems fun. And, but like there's something about the being discovered and the fact that there are those stories of this girl was discovered in an ice cream shop and now she's Amy Adams, and that's obviously not a real story, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
There are stories like that.
Absolutely. It's well, here's the flip side of that. Just on my way over here, went down Spring Street, there's a model walking, and I thought about this. I thought, if I could walk up to her and say, listen, I need a model. Here's a pile of cash. I need a model right now. Perfect look. There he is, right over there. There's a photographer. She can walk over there and do her work.
Right.
I need a tuba player. A tuba player is walking down the street. Here's some music. I need a tuba. Here's some pile of cash.
Yeah.
You can do your work.
Right.
I need an actor. Anybody that I find, even if they're the most experienced actor, there is something about it. Like they may not feel they can do it.
Right.
I might not feel they can do it.
It's true.
They might not be able to do it, and a lot of other things might be in the way too. And then they have to have their own thing about it. They might even have all of the ingredients correct for what they need, and they still. It's such an elusive thing. That's why this is annoying.
Yeah,
it's like an annoying thing.
Well, also, I mean, nowadays, since things have gotten super competitive and movies aren't being made as much, and TV's a more competitive landscape, they want to see you do every single scene in the show before you get the part.
Is that right?
I mean, and it's like, I need to see it, and I need to see everything. And sometimes it's even more frustrating because sometimes it's less sides, which is great for the memorization, but there's this thing with auditioning. I feel like auditioning is not acting. Auditioning is a totally different medium. It is like, how do I, like this entire character description that is 3 pages long about this character and his all this stuff, but there's a 2-page scene where we're at a diner. Now, if I was actually just like the actor playing that role, I would just play through the scene.
Yeah.
But they always like, and you know, I can't do it too much, but like, they're like, but I really want to see the vulnerability in James.
Didn't you read the 3rd page of his bio?
Right, exactly. On the 3rd page of his bio, we talk about his father in the military, and I want to feel that you're that son of a military guy, and you're like, I'm at a diner with the love interest. This is just a meet cute, or whatever. And you have to like incorporate the entire character into this bottled up scene. And that makes it false immediately because you're like, that's not what the scene is even doing. Oh, but I want to see that like mysterious side of James that, you know, is clearly in the script. Well, then give me the mysterious scene. You know, it's like you just try to put a square peg into a round hole to appease this, you know, vision.
Well, what does that do then to you? Does that mean, because I haven't heard it put in quite this way, and it makes me think like, is this why we have some people that are just performing on this level that is so not what I want to be seeing because they're trying to stay in the show, or they think that this is acting or something.
I don't want to badmouth LA because I actually do like it and I like being there. But when I first moved there especially, I was meeting some characters. And there's this guy, I will not say his name, he was auditioning and he was a buddy of mine-ish, and I had the most idiotic, what I would call LA actor conversation. And I'm fresh off of theater. I am so about the art and like have just worked with these incredible collaborators and an amazing cast, doing all different kinds of readings throughout. And he's like, man, dude, I've been watching these Ryan Gosling movies, man. And I notice he does these like mannerisms.
Oh, God.
These like Gosling hands. And like I was actually like learning this like ABC pilot, and I was like, all of a sudden I started just doing these Gosling hands that I saw him do, and I was realizing like, dude, like as if he found the key to not only like acting, but to booking and to success. And to like, dude, it's not that hard. You just do the Gosling hands and you're fine. It's like, you know, then you have these actors, you know, that are from Canada that like, the second they start acting, they're like doing a slight New York accent because they think it's like tough guy sound. You know, I mean, there's some BS for sure that you run into. And I actually have become the actor on certain film sets that I've been on that now, like I implore the actors a little bit to do theater. I encourage rather. I'll say, hey, you ever think about doing theater? And half of the reason is because I truly believe they could do it. But also, they need to do it because they got some habits, man.
Interesting.
And you can get away with a lot of that.
But wait, so what did theater do for you, though, that in that way that you're talking about, in that way that getting rid of habits, or maybe you didn't even have the habits because you were formed kind of in the theater. So what did that do to you that keeps feeding you now?
Breathing through things, no tension, not going down at the end of your sentences. Stupid things that like if you're in front of an audience, you will know they didn't hear the joke or they didn't respond, they didn't hear you. So volume. You know, stupid things that you do at the earliest stages of community theater when Tim McDonald is going, Skylar, I need you to project more. You know, or just stupid things like and then you know, you become like this, you know, fluid like actor, but then you also, like, I also have no problem on set just being super technical, and if someone needs to tell me like, hey, could we just tighten it up a little bit, a little faster? I understand pace and rhythm, and because I understand, like Michael Mayer will tell me, you know, Skylar, we need you to pace it up because it's just like, it's, you know, I'm looking at my watch here and it's like, get through it. It's like,
where somebody else might melt when they hear that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or it's a lot of times TV directors especially, or just like, you know, people are delicate about the note. The scene we were, you know, in the last, you were a roundabout way of just being like, do you need me to be quicker? Louder, faster, funnier? Is that what you need? You know what I mean? Like, are we running over on the script? You know what's really helped that for me too is writing and producing. I just understanding like so many actors, especially in film and TV. It's like I don't know why my character would say that. It's like, why would he say that here? Like we already know. It's like, well, it's the third act, and we've just left the second act. And at the end of the second act, we learned new information. But now, since it's the top of the third act, we're going to reiterate that information to the audience. And it's quite literally as simple as that. So that's why your character is saying this line. And sometimes, you know, when people get too into the headspace of the psychology of the character, it's like, the scene doesn't even need that. It's like, that's right. Yeah. That's right, but it's exposition. You know, and like being a writer and being I've played a lot of those characters that are expositional, and like, you know, it's tough. It's tough to do that because, you know, you don't want to just be reading information.
Right.
You have to make it nuanced, but you also know that that's a task as well.
It's part of the job.
We're delivering this information to our audience.
I'm halfway through the first episode of Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, and I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to tell Skylar I hate this show, and it will be fine. We'll work through this. And you won me over when your scene in the last,
I think the Partridge Family
scene of the first episode, your scene where you first start singing, I totally got the whole thing of the show. I let go of my snobbery about this concept, which I could not get. This is just a silly,
corny,
silly concept.
Yes,
and then I was totally in.
That is some of my, honestly, I know it could seem like a backhanded compliment, but to me, I think it's the highest praise. It happened all the time with Pitch Perfect, where especially dudes would be like, my wife dragged me to this thing, bro. This is so not my thing, dude. You know, and they're like trying to preserve their man card or whatever. And, you know, a lot of athletes, fighters, like have come up to me, and my daughter, you know, oh God. And I was like, what? And they're like, now every time it's on HBO, I eat it. I can't stop. I love it. And I love that. I think it's funny when you bring someone in with a concept that can be a little hokey, and then you earn it. And it's a narrative. It's story first. There's good characters, good actors, and it works.
And I've always loved Jane Levy. And her in this, it feels like it's perfectly suited to her strengths. But let me ask you this: you're coming out of My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, the final season. You're in the whole season, and you went into that. In the last season, it was a fine-oiled machine.
Yes.
At that point.
Right.
And here you are coming into this, a similar kind of show where you're putting on a musical every week.
Truly.
Were you worried about like, wow, they're starting from scratch on this? I haven't come in scratch on something like this.
I haven't. I mean, I guess Pitch Perfect I came in on scratch, but you know, different
and
film.
That's a movie.
And
movie.
You know, and stands alone, that's right. And different process, different timeline. This is, TV is completely different. I did one episode of Glee when it was extremely like a factory. A great factory, the best, so successful, and I love doing it. But like, you're absolutely right. Like coming in from this inception, we're building the machine now. And we need some grease, you know what I mean? And there's been some hiccups for sure. And some bumps and, you know, establishing rules. I will say for the most part, it went really well. I mean, I think we reshot one musical number because we realized it broke the rules. It wasn't a character's subconscious. It was a character covering for their subconscious.
Whoa.
And it was put on a happy face.
That's interesting.
And it was so great on paper. No one really like thought twice about it, but when they watched it in the edit, they go, oh, this makes no sense. Always watching someone actively cover for how they're feeling. That would never happen. It would be their innermost thing.
I really appreciate that you tell me that, because that means like people are thinking about this whole thing, the rules of this,
the universe. The rules are great, and they expand and they glitch, and we're still building them. But we have to establish that, or else you're right. It'll be a disjointed, like, oh great, just another excuse to go into a musical number now, and we'll lose our audience so quickly.
I think that's what I loved about that moment at the end of the first episode when it was your thing, because it felt like I haven't seen, you know, when we're setting up some kind of love thing, and I just haven't seen this before. I
Right.
haven't seen like when somebody knows what somebody else is thinking, and it comes to us through something that we all love, like a song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so that, and the Peter Gallagher thing too. I remember thinking, holy shit, what's going on with Peter Gallagher? He's not going to talk through this whole. He's just going
Right.
to sit there. Why couldn't they have cast? I'm like, you
Anyone.
idiot.
Yeah.
He's going to sing, and he sings with him crying.
Yes. Yeah.
Crying my eyes
his
out.
payoffs are out of control. I don't know if you saw Moon Dance in episode 2.
Yes,
yet.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Tremendous. And he has a lot of more songs. He actually has some other really beautiful. I mean, he kills me.
Yeah.
Because then there's a couple different opportunities, a couple, not flashbacks, but things where you get to see him in his younger self. And you're just like, it just breaks your heart, because Peter is someone who's so full of life. And when he brings that through Mitch,
Yeah.
it really like, and then he goes back to what Mitch is now, and
yeah.
it kills
Yeah,
me. He has an effect on me, that guy.
Yeah, He has an effect on the audience. I could tell. I mean,
Yeah.
it's got to be part of the success of the show. That
Right.
for sure. So, but Jane isn't part of the what would we say, musical community,
Right.
She isn't. She's not a musical performer.
Right.
Was there an initiation process that you people did with her?
I think Jane is so insane to me, because she was like so in awe of being around. She's like, the cool actor being like, I've never been around all you musical people. I mean, it's insane. Like, you guys just sing. It's like gorgeous, and like, oh my God. And like, she was obsessed, and but also intimidated, and like, would be like, I'm not one of. And then, I have a couple party little shindigs with the cast at my place. I've never seen a little spark plug dance with that little tushy. I mean, she is going. She could do like Brazilian type dances. Like she's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Her talent knows no bounds. And then she's like, well, I've been working with the voice coach, because I think I'm going to sing in episode 2. This was like right after the pilot. And we get out a Jewel song, and we do the you were meant for me and I was meant for you song. And I just, you could tell in 5 seconds when you hear somebody's tone.
Yeah.
First of all, not only could she match pitch and was perfectly on pitch, but her tone was gorgeous and bright. And nothing I love more than a person who sings as an extension of the way they talk.
Yes.
And it sounds like Jane.
Oh, yeah.
But Jane's singing, and now Zoe's singing.
Yeah.
It's so organic, so natural.
That's interesting.
And I went, in 5 seconds, I stopped playing. I said, oh, I don't need to hear anymore.
Yeah.
You're an amazing singer.
Yeah.
And she's like, shut up. You're just saying, I said, no, you're truly an amazing. And I tell her every day, and still, I think she now has an idea, because now she's done several songs on the show. And I'm like, you are a singer, Jane. Like, whether you want to be or not, or don't consider yourself experienced, you can do this. And you can not only do a Broadway play, which I think she'd be incredible at. She's such a great actress, but I think she could do a musical, 100%.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And what you're saying there is like the whole idea of like the phrasing or whatever. I don't know if that's the right word. But
It
like,
is.
But like the way and if she can extend that out of her actual natural acting ability, then that's a special thing.
She's a very honest actress, so of course
Yeah.
her singing is an extension of that.
I just saw a play that's happening in New York. Deirdre O'Connell, who was on my show, is lip syncing the entire play. It's a recording of an interview, and she's lip syncing every single word.
Wow.
And we talked extensively about that, and it's I went and saw it, and I'm like, this is like, I was almost too out of it, because I couldn't believe how she was doing this, And
You can't get completely lost in the story, because you're like, I'm just thinking about this technical aspect of like what this must have been like to learn.
I had to close my eyes
Right,
sometimes.
right.
But I want to know if, like, because you're such a musical guy on the stage, you even like the Hollywood Bowl you're doing.
Sure.
When you have to lip sync, like, is that another muscle?
It is. I've gotten good at it because I've had to. I mean, not
So
good at it.
there's some
but
people that aren't good at it that are good singers.
Yeah, I actually have a problem. When I sing in life, I don't open my mouth that much. I actually had to talk to this guy Dylan, who's like our he's like our guy that watches play on the musical numbers and makes sure that we are lip syncing properly, which is great to just have someone designated to, Mandy watches the dance moves and this guy just like watches the mouth and he's like, hey, there's a vowel that you were kind of not doing an O. But I was like, oh, but sometimes I actually like, I mean, this is audio obviously, so people can't see, so I shouldn't even do an example, but like I sometimes like push my sound through not a lot of, I don't move my mouth too much, so I actually sometimes have to exaggerate the way I sing for that.
That's so interesting.
Because I always am singing, by the way. I'm never lip syncing. I'm never actually not pushing air through my cords.
That's interesting.
I'm not like the veins in the neck are going.
Yeah.
Like
because that would be too weird.
I think so. Yeah. You can tell. You can tell when someone's quite literally not making a sound. And do I definitely make it look a little prettier and like I'm not so focused on the sound, and there are some high notes that I'll maybe mark like repurpose the look of it. Yes. Yeah. And that's a part of that lip syncing art form. But yeah, I can never just like not just move my mouth and not make sound.
Yeah. That's so interesting. And I heard you say that like there's a booth in like the production office?
Yes.
And that's where you guys do all of these.
This little by the way,
all these recordings.
Single movie musical, TV musical, you would be like, imagine the smallest apartment in New York you've ever lived at, and then that's the closet. Wow. And the closet is where it's always the smallest little room on the top of the stairwell in the production office, like, and you're like, this is where like the
singing
magic
in the rain
happens. Like literally, this is like gets like millions of streams and views just from this little. And that's all you need is a good microphone and some Pro Tools. And
are there changes that need to be made, and then you go back in the booth?
Sometimes I have yet to really. Crazy X, I remember we changed a lyric, and like I had to go back in, and it's just crazy. I mean, you literally go 30 yards to the production office and up the stairs, and they're like, you just need to do a little vocal ADR. We fixed a lyric there. But yeah, I didn't ever actually go back to Zoe's. Every time we did it, I felt good, and Harvey always comped together a good track. And then I would just like, I would ask, I would beg, and I would sometimes yell at the music coordinator who I love, but she's just the messenger, because it's like, hey, we're shooting this at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Can I please have playback? I actually...
So sometimes you wouldn't get playback?
Till the day of, and you're just like, dude, I'm matching this. Like, I have to match the breaths and the things, and like, I need to know what takes, which it is. And it has nothing to do with, they're not inefficient. They are they have we're doing 6 songs an episode.
That's amazing.
That's more than I've ever done anywhere. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And new renditions and, clearances. And we just found out we got Destiny's Child, but it shoots on Tuesday. God. So now we got to like rush this arrangement. We got to get in there and then comp it. And like, it won't be even a finished audio while we're shooting playback, but it'll be at least, a placeholder.
And this also goes back to, you being able to go on the stage night after night and do this. Right. It comes into play here. It's like it's got to bust other people up entirely if they have to go through this, if they don't have a stage experience.
Yeah. I mean, especially because on our show we do very long, like sweeping oneers. Just like Sucker was like pretty much one shot. If you actually like look at it closely, it's just steady cam around the room, and it ends where it starts. I think they cut into one medium of me, and they didn't have to, but I think they just wanted a closer shot at the end. But that's it. Wow. And what I love about that is not just so that it's not some masturbatory like, we're like tooting our own horn by doing this cool film thing, but actually I think they really want it to feel like we're a part of Zoe's experience and we're really in the room. And like this, and just being in a room right now, like you and I are just in this room, and if I broke out into song, what would that feel like? Right. I don't think there'd be like, if you would shoot that, you wouldn't cut into it too much.
Yeah. That's what gives it this dream-like quality too, which I appreciate. Yeah, that's for sure. I've heard you say that your dream musical role is George in Sunday in the Park with George. Mm-hmm. Does that mean that you're actually in the headspace now to be thinking, okay, I need to kind of diversify my credits to show a certain torturedness that maybe I don't have a lot of right now, so that if that ever does come up, if that possibility ever does come up, someone who is trying to put you in that will think, oh yeah, that. He was in that, and that had this feel. Like, is this a process people go through now when they're when they're thinking about roles they want to do? Are they thinking, okay, I need to start telling my people, no, I'm not going to play the boyfriend so much anymore,
Right.
unless the boyfriend has this thing that's torturing him right now. Because it's not necessarily that you're honing in so much on this one role, but just that you want to play roles like this.
Yes. Well, I want to have a really long career. And I want to play so many different diverse roles. And I used to be really a little, not tortured, but a little like, I don't want to keep doing these singing things because like I got to show people that I like to do more. And if I keep doing more of these, they'll only see me as that. And this earnest guy that I always play. And recently, actually, not that I don't still want to do all those roles, I've taken a bit of a breath and look at the role I just took now. It's not too unlike other roles I've played. It's not completely back pocket. It's not the same thing, but it's nice. And we, by the way, he definitely evolves and is like a full man, especially by the end of season 1. But I had this like I did a lot of soul searching this year, and like I had this like amazing epiphany, and where I think I even said earlier in this interview that I bet on myself, and I'm now like not in a rush. I know what I'm capable of now, so I'm not in a rush to show it. I know it will happen now. So like, I just did Into the Woods at the Hollywood Bowl, and I feel like I never wanted to talk about George a lot because everyone's dream role is George, especially male actors that do musical theater.
Yeah.
But I was like, and so many people want to say it, I didn't want to will it into it's not like the time yet maybe. But when I did Into the Woods at the Bowl, Haley Kilgore, Patina Miller, the director, a lot of people at the Bowl, through seeing me do The Baker, were like, hey, you'd be a great George. Wow. Like, I want to do George with you. Yeah. I was like, and definitely it wasn't like that, like, that's right, it's like, but it was more of a, like, yeah, good, I'm glad people are starting to take note of something I already know. Yeah. And I think there's a great confidence in that, because I think if you're like clenching too tight to like, I can't, because if it's like, no, I'll take everything that's like comes across my metaphorical desk, and whatever it is, and I'll decide and I'll see. And I have said no to a couple things that weren't exciting, but like Zoe's was like, maybe a similar role, but I just loved where he sat in the story. I loved the platform, and I was like, yeah, I don't think this is one too many. Not yet. Yeah. I'm okay with it. Yeah. And I think maybe 2 years I would have been a little like, I don't know. Yeah. And I was like, no way, man, open arms. Because I realized like this is a really unique skill and talent that I have. Why not like celebrate it? And it's okay. Like I'll do like 4 more of these, and I'll do like 2 more of those, and I'll play the heroin addict. I can't wait, And I will slowly get there. I develop, I write. I had this like really cool idea that is not fully formed, but a band that has kind of a dual life. So, he gets to be that earnest boy, man next door, owns a bagel shop in the local town, but turns out behind closed doors he's got a whole other situation going on. And I feel like that would be a great introduction for people to see, like, the guy you know and like, well, he's also got darkness and depth. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's such a great time because actors can do that, can make their own material now. Yeah. Unlike at any other time, I feel like.
It's vital. I think I booked this Zoe's thing, even though it came in just like an offer. I have a feeling it had to do in the universe with, I sold a show this year to ABC, and it was a great show, great concept. We sold it in the room to the head of the network, head of comedy, head of everything. And then like, for 3 months we developed it and wrote it. And then like literally right before the decision-making process time, the entire ABC, they all got wiped out.
Are you kidding
All
me?
the executives that were like, handshake and like, we're gonna go the distance with this one. I mean, and it was a darling show that they loved, but now a complete new head of network, comedy, development, they come in and, they don't want to make anything that they didn't come up with themselves. And, it was a higher concept idea for ABC, and it didn't work out, but I learned so much, and I got to write a script. I wrote all the music. There was a music aspect to it. I wrote the music for it, and I realized like, oh, I can produce, I can write, while being the star, and then once that didn't work out, I got a call like the next day about Zoe's.
That's interesting.
I met in with Austin, and instantly we had this like connection because I told him I just sold this show and he wanted to read the script, and I think right away as a writer he was like, oh, you know what it's like to like pitch a TV show, and like you know what it's like to like get network notes and have new pages and all this stuff. So he lets me we collaborate a lot. He lets me alt some jokes and improv a lot, so it's cool.
That's great. I really look forward to your future, man, and watching you now. Man. And I'm glad that you won me over with this show. You have another fan. It seems like it's really doing good.
I think so. I mean, people tend to like it. I know internally NBC is obsessed with it, and they text me after every episode, like the heads of all the big, cool, fancy names at NBC, and it doesn't feel fake or smoke blowy. They genuinely love it, and they love having it on their network, and we love making it. So I don't see why it wouldn't, last.
That's great. Skylar Astin, thank you.
My pleasure, man.
Back to One is a production of Filmmaker Magazine, which is a publication of IFP, the Independent Filmmaker Project. Listen to back episodes of this podcast at filmmakermagazine.com or wherever you get your podcasts.